Hey Mark, I got your email on Friday. I figured I'd make a quick voice thread to sort of go over some coaching points from the video that you sent. It'll be a little bit easier than me trying to explain it in an email. So here's your video. A few things to run through. First of all, it looks like your bar is pretty low. I could be wrong, but these look like they're maybe 35s or 25-pound plates. Um, if possible, get yourself some 45s. That's going to raise the bar up a couple of inches. Your other alternative is to maybe add something else underneath. I don't know if you have blocks or if you have anything, even like other weights that you can lay down and roll these ones onto. That's going to raise the bar up. You're a tall guy. You pulling from the bar being this low, it puts you in a pretty bad position. I wouldn't recommend pulling from that low of a position. So let's find a way to raise the bar up, even just a couple of inches. Potentially, maybe looking at your rack, maybe you can lower these rails down as low as they go. I don't know, maybe that puts the bar too high. But if you can get 45-pound plates, that would be perfect. If you don't have any, I can give you some from the Walsh weight room. Just let me know. We can meet up there one time and I can hand those off to you. So that's the first thing. The setup, all right? So the setup, I would say that is your setup. That's a pretty good setup position. It shows pretty good flexibility to be able to get down there. Ankles look good. The feet look good. They're flat. It's hard to tell from this angle, but it looks like the bar is over your shoelaces or over your midfoot. So that looks good. Looks like it's up against your shins. Grip is good. Elbows are straight. These are like your pieces of rope that are attaching to the bar. Okay, so all of the heavy lifting is happening right here, and these are just your attachment points. They're not doing any of the work. So good straight elbow just outside the shin. Back looks pretty flat. Getting your back flat from the starting position is a strain. It's very difficult. So that should be, it's almost like you're working harder to get your back flat during the starting position than the lift itself will be when you actually pull the bar. So this is hard. Looks like you're doing a pretty good job of it. Eyes are up. Eyes can be up or sort of out and down. Either way is fine. Out and down would sort of give you a little bit more of a neutral spine instead of your spine curving up like that. Either way is fine. It looks like you're maybe watching yourself in the mirror, so that's also a positive tool. So I'm okay with eyes up or eyes out and down. Either way is fine. Um, so as far as the lift itself goes, oh, one more thing to look at. One correction we would make with this setup is I would maybe press your knees out a little bit more. So we can rotate the toes slightly out a little bit further, and then take these knees and press them out against your elbows. That's going to set you up at a little bit wider angle. It's going to help your glutes engage a little bit more, which is sort of the goal of this movement. The difference between the deadlift and a squat is a squat tends to involve a lot more quadricep. The deadlift is really low back, it's glute, it's hamstring, it's all your posterior chain, which is those are your speed muscles. So we want to emphasize these. So the more glutes we can get, the better. So if you press your knees out against your elbows a little bit, you're going to activate those glutes a little bit quicker. I think the video mentions that and even mentions sort of twisting the feet. So watch that video that I put in your email and check that out. Those are some good tips. So as far as the lift itself, I think you hit the nail on the head here. Watch those hips. Those hips fly up, I mean, well in advance of that bar moving off the floor. In a perfect world, your hips can't move anywhere until that bar comes off the floor. Now, the only way that can happen is if your hips and your shoulders rise simultaneously. So if we can see here, your shoulders stay in place, they're not going anywhere, but your hips are moving up. We don't want that lag because you're right, that essentially turns us into a really deep RDL. That's not what we're going for here. I went and found, so I Googled deadlift, right? And everybody's an expert, so there's all kinds of information out there. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But I went and pulled this picture up. This is a pretty good starting position. Now, I don't know why this says fixed. I don't know who made this, but this is a good starting position. Now, when he goes to pull this bar off the floor, the bar is going to travel straight up, but nothing's going to happen until his shoulders and his hips simultaneously rise. We can't go up here without also going up here. Otherwise, we put ourselves in that really high hip, sort of like a parallel back position. We don't want that. So when you go through yours, really try to have the hips and the shoulders move at the same time. Other than that, because you can see that puts you in a pretty rough position right there. Other than that, everything looks pretty good. Your back looks very flat to me. The finish is really good. The shoulder blades are retracted, so they're pulled back. Arms are straight, eyes up, chest looks like it's up, glutes are engaged. This is a good balanced finish. So really the only correction I would make would be exactly what you thought it was. Try not to let those hips get out in front of the shoulders so much. Now, if you watch the video, you'll see that this position, this is sort of the high hip position. This is an okay starting position. So if you would rather just begin in this position, that's fine. I've actually changed the way that I do my deadlifts to be more like a high hip. We don't want to fly into that though. We don't want to roll into that by starting low. That puts a lot of strain on your low back. So if you want to start in that high hip position, you can, but then from here, shoulders and hips need to come up at the exact same rate, which they still don't quite do that even from that position. So watch the video, take a look, let me know what you think. I'm going to send you an email here. I want to go through a couple of things. So this video, the guy's kind of a goofball, but he puts a lot of good videos out there with really good information. So if you follow those 5 steps, that's essentially the same way that I teach it to kids at Walsh. So I would take a look at that. I would use his tips that he gives. And then this video, if you're watching it, you know how to get to it, but I've attached it to the email. So one thing I'd like to see, if you have a chance, is send me a few more reps. Show me a video of a few more reps once you've made that correction, and then we can verify that you're on the right track. Next time, if possible, put the camera on the side or just maybe turn your barbell sideways so I can see you from the side position. Because as you can see, I can get a lot more information from this angle. I can see all these different joints and where they're at and how they're interacting than I can from this angle. So that'd be one thing to help out. Otherwise, it looks good. Good job training at home. Hopefully I'll hear from you soon, and hopefully this helps.